Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We are back again today with another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at just how good or bad Albion's squad depth as it stands heading into the championship season actually is. We're going to sort of take a deep dive into each and every player in this and sort of work out what Albion have got to play with in different positions. Of course, we did a sort of similar thing with keep, sell or loan, but obviously that was me talking about who should go, who should stay. But this will be more about who should actually play, who should actually be on the pitch, and how good is our sort of backup areas in that pitch. And we've got a nice little diagram to show you later on in the video that I've spent a bit of time making about, who should be loaned out and, who might be loaned out and what sort of players we've got left to play with as we head into the championship season. Of course, as I'm filming this, only 26 days away until we greet the start of the new championship season. So if you're new around here to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe for more content like this throughout the summer. All of your build up to the championship season will be right here on the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. Is our squad depth good enough heading into the championship season? Are there any players that you'd like to see come in before the end of the window? Let me know down in the comments and let's crack on and talk about Albion's squad depth. You're watching the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. For match previews, match day vlogs, match reactions and more, make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So let's get started. Let's talk and start with the goalkeepers, of course. 3 goalkeepers heading into the championship season, and they are David Button, Alex Palmer and Josh Griffiths. So Button is obviously the first option. We expect him to be sort of the number one choice at this moment in time. I suppose there's a little bit of a competition going on between himself and Alex Palmer. The latter of two, I think, deserves a bit of a chance. It's likely he'll have to knock Button off that perch because we've heard, if you've watched any of the club's sort of media over the past couple of weeks, Steve Bruce did an interview and he said, at the moment, Button is number one because of the form he had towards the end of the season, which I think is fair. He played well, didn't do anything wrong. It's only right that he heads into the season as number one choice. But Alex Palmer's a really good choice as well. I can't see why he wasn't given a game. I don't think that's particularly fair on him towards the end of the season when Bruce is claiming there's going to be a bit of a battle between them two for that number one spot. I think that's quite annoying because Alex Palmer didn't get his chance to even play just a singular game in that end of season sort of running. So I feel that's a little unfair on Palmer, but he will have to knock Button off his perch. But at the moment, it's Button who's number one, and also Josh Griffiths is in there as well. Wouldn't be surprising if he either went on loan or stuck around. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen because number one, I think that he's a very talented goalkeeper. I do think he needs a championship loan rather than a League One loan. I think he's done League One now with Lincoln and was very good for them during his time there. So I think it's time maybe for him to step up, go to the Championship and see what he's made of. But that, of course, depends on who actually wants to take him, who wants to bring him into their side. And yeah, that's completely club centred really with who wants to bring him in and who wants to take him on loan. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him head out on loan at all this season. Josh Griffiths, of course, a very talented goalkeeper and probably will be Albion number one in a couple of years. But these two players, David Button and Alex Palmer, they're likely to fight it out really for that number one spot. I put sort of centre-backs as two different piles because obviously there'll be two centre-back positions. It's probably Steve Bruce's back four as it looks at the moment. So we've got Dara O'Shea and Shemi Ajayi. Those are my sort of starting centre-backs at this moment in time. They're who I think will begin the season as the first choice centre backs. I think O'Shea should be starting every game now. I think he's proved himself at championship level. Did very well towards the end of the last season. Did very well at the start of last season. Just very unlucky with that injury. I hope he gets a new contract because, of course, that's been in negotiations for some while. I haven't actually heard an update about that for a little while now, so I am a little bit worried. Of course, I think it's not too long till it expires. So, yeah, I do hope O'Shea gets his contract. And, yeah, Shemi Ajayi did get his contract extended. It's one of the best centre-backs, I think, that you could find for sort of this level that we're playing at the moment. I think that, you'd probably have to fork out between £5 and £10 million to find another Shemi Ajayi. I think 1.5 million getting him from Rotherham a couple of seasons ago was a real snip, and I'm very pleased that we managed to do so. So I'd probably stick them as starting centre-backs, and then we sort of look into the depth of that centre-back position, and it is very deep. There are 6 available first-team centre-backs to us at this moment in time. Of course, this is a squad I should have probably mentioned that have gone on the pre-season tour. This is essentially who's there. So yeah, anybody on that pre-season tour has been included in this. Trip to Portugal, I suppose, has been included in this. So yeah, Carl Bartley, I don't think is probably warranted a starting spot this season. I'd probably consider him now as a backup. I think O'Shea and Ajayi should overtake him, and they're a younger, sort of fresher feel at the back, but with a good amount of Championship experience and Premier League experience indeed. With O'Shea and Ajayi, they both played a good amount of games in the Premier League. So did Bartley, I suppose. But I would consider offers for Bartley. I think he's one of the players that probably is about time he go. Only a year left on his deal. It's probably time that we stop sort of relying on him to be a starting centre back. Let some of these, I suppose, younger centre backs come through and let us see how they get on. So I would consider Bartley as a bit of a backup now, and the same could be said for Keane Bryan, who's always kind of been a backup. He's had a very frustrating time with injury. I think he would be an all right backup. It's just a bit frustrating that we kind of signed him and we got him now because we didn't really need him in the end. If I'm honest, there wasn't really a centre back injury crisis as Ismail made out. There were 3 centre backs that could play, and he preferred to put Connor Townsend in at left centre back over a left footed centre back in Keane Bryan. So he would be a decent backup, but it's just a bit frustrating that we offered him a 2-year deal. I didn't really see the point in that, but that's the way things go. Cedric Kipre, probably likely to be sold as well. Another player that Steve Bruce clearly hasn't taken a fancy to at all. I don't think he got any minutes last season under Bruce. So yeah, I think he would. Yeah, I think he's likely to be sold, and yeah, that's clearly going to happen, I suppose, at some point this season. Caleb Taylor, likely to be loaned out, I think, but I'd love to see him given a chance as sort of that third choice centre back. I think that it's pointless kind of trying to overdevelop players like Bartley or even Bryan to some extent. I'd stick Caleb Taylor at the top of that list and stick him under Ajayi and O'Shea and see how he gets on. I just think it's a little bit pointless trying to develop Bartley with a year left on his deal, whereas I think Caleb Taylor could benefit. But then again, I can only see him going one way, and that's on loan for the rest of the season, if I'm honest. Onto the fullbacks, to start with right back, Donald Furlong, Ethan Ingram. At the moment, it's pretty simple. Ethan Ingram's likely to go out on loan unless he proves, otherwise in pre-season. And I know Bruce has name dropped him a couple of times as a player that he's quite excited about. So yeah, possibly a backup to Furlong there. And Furlong, obviously, at the moment, unless a player's signed, is that starting right back. And the same exactly on the other side. Connor Townsend is starting fullback, and Zach Ashworth is alone unless sort of he impresses during pre-season, which I'm sure they will, and I hope that they do get their chance at Albion next season if they can. On to some midfielders now. We've got sort of 4 centre midfielders that will sit sort of deeper in that midfield, and that's Jake Livermore, still captain, but Albion seemingly is still searching for that number 6, which is a bit weird because I always thought that was Livermore's position. So yeah, of course, he's still club captain. I can see Bruce still starting him as it stands. That's why I put him at the top of that sort of pecking order. Jason Malumbi is a good option as well. Definitely the right profile and the right personality of a player. Very hard working, very willing to run about and give his all every game. Alex Mowatt on that other side is kind of a little bit weird. I think it's just a really bad season from him last year, and I think that he's going to be a little bit scarred by that. Carrying an injury as well. Perhaps now he's had that surgery and now he needs to go and get himself back up to speed in pre-season. Perhaps it's his time to kind of move forwards and take on a different role and kind of take a bit more responsibility, as it wasn't a great season for him last year. So give Mowatt a chance, I'd say. Let's see what he can do, and the same could be said for Taylor Gardner-Hickman, who I've actually started next to Livermore and Malumbi. I think he should play if there are no further improvements made on that midfield. I think he's earned the right to play, and I think a youthful, bit of progressive midfielder. He's always very positive, always wants to get forward, so I'd stick him in there. If we got other midfielders throughout the transfer window, maybe this changes, but as I said, this video is about the squad depth at this moment in time, so I'd definitely make sure Gardner-Hickman starts this season as it stands. Moving on into more attacking midfield, we've got 2 attacking midfielders sort of, and they're John Swift, who at the moment starting attacking midfielder. There's no contest with that. He's definitely earned his place, and he's definitely got that move through a great season at Reading last year. So I think he starts in attacking midfield with a lack of competition, really. Kevin Castro's behind him. I think a league loan could be the making of him. I think, these creative players, and I think Castro's got a very raw ability, and I think if he puts his mind to the test in the lower leagues, maybe a League 2 loan, I think he could really rip it up if he's given the platform to do so. But yeah, we'll see about that. I'll see about. I think the ones marked in green are the ones that should be going on loan. The ones in red are ones that could be sold this summer. So yeah, we'll see about that. Jed Wallace, a starting right winger. He's going to be hopefully the biggest creative force alongside Swift in the side and Dean Garner. That looks a nice front three, if I'm being honest. So yeah, Jed Wallace, a really nice creative force on the right hand side. He definitely starts for me. Behind him, you've got the likes of Matt Phillips and Callum Robinson, both of which open to offers, likely to be allowed to leave if a suitable offer comes in. So, yeah, I can see that happening. You just need to shift a few of these players off the wage bill if you want to kind of improve the squad anymore. And I think Phillips and Robinson are two players that I don't think their Albion careers are massively recoverable, as in what they've done. I think Robinson was actually okay last season with his goal contributions, but some of his sort of attitude has not been great. Phillips' injuries as well has hardly played over the past couple of seasons because of that. So, yeah, that's that for right wing. Left wing, you've got Colin Grant. I'm unsure as to whether he sticks as a striker or whether he stays on that left-hand side. I think he's more effective on that left-hand side. He scored quite a few goals there last season, so maybe I'd like to see him there for that reason, for the goals. But then again, Dean Garner, of course, has really impressed people, the staff and coaching staff this season with his work ethic and sort of renewed vigour in the side and how strong he's come back. He's clearly been in the gym over the summer. I think he has to make it work this season. I think there's no excuses now. You've got two other creative players in that squad who are going to attract a bit more attention away from Dean Garner in that side. So I think now's the chance for Dean Garner to get back on track and show us the man that we've been missing. And sort of below him, I've put Adam Reach in the left wing position. I don't know where Adam Reach is best, if I'm honest, but I think Albion are also open for offers for him. He's a good backup across the pitch, left back, centre midfield, I suppose, to some extent, left midfield. I think he doesn't start, but I think you keep him as a backup because he can do a lot of those jobs. So, yeah, that squad depth in those winger areas is actually quite good, but I've got a feeling a few of those could leave, so therefore it leaves you open. Do you buy some more wingers? Do you loan a couple of wingers? I think the loan market's one that needs to be exploited towards the end of the window, so we'll see about that. And moving finally into these striking positions, which are Daryl Dike and Kenneth Sahor. No contest in that position. Daryl Dike starts at this moment in time, and Kenneth Sahor will probably be sold if any offer can come in, but obviously we've seen that Sahor has become an increasingly hard asset to shift at this moment in time. Bruce seems willing to give him a chance. If he's here, why not play him? But for me, he should be first out the door out of any of these players on the squad list at this moment in time. So, yeah, that brings me to the end of this squad depth. We've covered every single player in Albion's pre-season tour to Portugal. Let me know what you think of Albion's squad depth. Is it strong enough to get promotion this season? Drop your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.